And just as I used things which were nearby, places that were nearby, I used people who were nearby. And one of my early poems was one that has been reproduced all over the place about an old plumber called Eulogy for Alfred Hubbard. In fact, an American critic once said to me, that poem has been plagiarized by a number of American poets. So I said, oh, that's really interesting. Who are they? He said, well, I'm in a hurry. I'll tell you next time I see you. And I never saw him again. So maybe he was right. Hubbard is dead, the old plumber. Who will mend our burst pipes now? The tap that has dripped all the summer, testing the sink's overflow. No other like him. Young men with knowledge of new techniques and theories from books may better his work straight from college, but who will challenge his squint-eyed looks in kitchen, bathroom, under floorboards, rules of thumb which were often wrong, seek as erringly stopcocks in cupboards, or make a job last half as long? He was a man who knew the ginnels, alleyways, streets, the whole district. Family secrets, minor annals, time-honoured fictions fused to fact. 70 years of gossip muttered under his cap, his tufty thatch, so that his talk was slow and clotted, hard to follow, and too much. As though nothing fell, none vanished, and time with a maze of Cheetham Hill, in which the dead, with jobs unfinished, waited to hear him ring the bell. For much he never got round to doing, but meant to when weather bucked up or worsened, or when his pipe was drawing, or when he'd finished this cup. I thought time he forgot so often had forgotten him, but here's death's pomp over his house, and by the coffin the son who will inherit his blow lamp, tools, workshop, cart and cornet, pride of Cheetham Prize Brass Band. And there's his mourning widow, Janet, stood at the gate he'd promised to mend. Soon he will make his final journey, shaved and silent, strangely trim, with never a pause to talk to anybody. How arrow-like for him. In St. Mark's Church, whose dismal tower he pointed and painted when a lad, they will sing his praises amidst flowers, while somewhere a cellar starts to flood, and the housewife banging his front door knocker is not surprised to find him gone, and runs for Thwaite, who's a better worker, and sticks at a job until it's done. Again, you know, that seems as though it's just about an old character, but in fact it's quite literary in some places. I noticed years later that I keep myself out of this poem, almost, but when I enter it to say, I thought time he forgot so often had forgotten him. And that is an echo of something in Shakespeare's Richard II, where towards the end of his life, Richard says, I wasted time and now doth time waste me. Very similar to, I thought time had forgotten him, you know. Another interesting thing about the poem is that it tells you something about the fictions that writers engage in, because Hubbard wasn't dead. And, I thought, well, he might be offended if he finds out this poem, but one drunken night at some party, he did find out, and he was quite pleased. But then, many, many years later, and of course he wasn't an old man at that time. I was quite young, so I thought somebody about 57 was old, and 20 years later he was still going, and I think he was still going 30 years later. And quite late in his life, when he was getting a bit gaga, his son told me that the father had said to him one day, when did I die? And I wondered whether I contributed to his confusion by writing his Eulogy 30 years earlier.